And here we are.
What's up, Alex?
What's happening? Welcome back to the show, everyone.
Yes, welcome back. We've
got some lovely guests.
Fun and exciting show planned today-ish.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's actually Alex's idea this time. He kind of reached out and said, hey, I think we're going to have these guys on next time. And I was like, okay.
Guys and gals, this is a politically correct show.
Yeah, well, let's just bring them on. It's the Therapeutic Edge and Women Carry Knives.
Holy crap, there's people.
Hey.
Welcome.
What is going on, gang?
We're so happy to have you guys. It is lovely. It's overdue to have you guys on here. Welcome.
Well, it's nice to be here.
It's good to see you both.
And I gotta say, they are troopers because they just got back from a very long weekend at Blade Show. So we really appreciate you guys coming in. I wasn't expecting you to say yes just because of that, but you know, we're glad to have you guys join us today because me and Dirk didn't go to Blade Show. So you're going to be my eyes and kind of let us know what kind of you saw and what you thought was cool over there.
I will be happy to walk you through it. And I got to tell you, man, we've been looking for an opportunity to support this, you guys doing this for a long time. So this is great.
Yes.
We weren't going to say no.
Well, we appreciate it. And I know you guys just did your own live earlier today, too. So you're probably a little talked out. But, you know.
Well, she might be. I just sat quietly for an hour because she was in go mode for her live. It was really funny.
Yeah.
No, I'm happy to be here. You may be getting a slightly loopy version of both of us. That's cool, you know.
That's the version that I've come to know and love. So
right,
okay.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah. Wait a minute, he's got insider, so we got to watch that one.
Exactly. I've seen you off camera, had lunch, had dinner, so I've seen the behind the scenes, if you will.
Right.
And it's
Dirk's
really
just
not
exactly far enough away that it's hard to get to see him as often as we'd like to.
Yeah.
He's just it's like
exactly.
It requires which is good for him. He's like, good. I'm glad I live that far away. But
it's good to see Mimo here, Napster.
Yeah, you guys got a great crowd showing up already. But no, really, man, we think about you a lot. And it's always like, we should go out to Napa. And then we're like, but that's like an hour.
Exactly. If we were like 15 minutes closer, then we would probably spend more time together, which could be dangerous.
That's true.
We got Michael Morgan in the house.
Michael Morgan, welcome.
He's kind of a hit and miss guy here, and Bearded Doom is in the shower listening. I'm not even going to go.
Oh my God!
I'm just going to leave it there.
Video. You know what? I'm not even going to go to there.
Let's not even go
shower
there.
Videos.
I forgot what. Yeah, it was.
I got it.
It was a hot dog in the shower or something. Let's just not even.
So it's nice talking.
It's not as bad as it's not as bad as you think, but if he sends you the clip, you'll laugh your ass off.
Yeah, this is a family show, so we'll leave that.
I've seen that one
till later.
It's my kind of humor, you know. Like I didn't know what to expect. I was scared to open the link, and then there he was. You know, it was pretty good. Big shout out to Bearded Doom.
How family is your show? Am I monitoring my language?
No, we're good. There's
you can fucking say whatever you want.
Oh, my sensitive ears. Don't
my delicate wife, what are you doing?
Yeah.
We try to keep it pretty low key around here, but that's just me. I'm kind of a low key guy. So
yeah.
All right, so let's dive into what were you guys carrying. Let's actually go like that. What did you carry at Blade West? That's always a question, is what kind of knives do like us knife collector knuckleheads actually take to a show? Do we take something super expensive, or do we take something really budget, or something in the middle, or do you carry 5 knives?
Yes. I mean, honestly, I bring a roll to the small shows. I usually bring 1 to the big show. I bring 2 or 3.
Okay.
There was an I just want to get this out. They did a pit-like thing. They had an after party at Black Rifle Coffee, and it was sold as their version of the pit. And the pit is where you talk knives and trade, and you know, this was not that. This was an award show. Then as soon as the awards were over, the show was over.
Literally, people left.
Yeah, so it was. I brought a lot of knives, kind of for no reason. Day 1, I walked in. I was carrying.
I had the Lander.
Yep, you carried the Lander, and I was carrying. Oh, I carried the Stitch on day 1.
Okay,
walked in with Stitch. and immediately swapped it out for one of the knives. I bought a knife within the first 10 minutes of the show.
You lasted a whole 10 minutes before you
right, and then I carried that for a while, and then on day 2 I was carrying the other thing that I bought on day 1.
Okay.
On day 2.
You had
the day 2 was my Malibu, Protect Malibu.
Yeah.
I still have
you want
yet
to carry
to
something
have one
fun
of
to
those.
show. You know, you want to carry something that's got some interest to it.
Yeah.
Yes.
You're walking up to a table full of really fancy folders or somebody's, handmade custom work. And while you could say, here's my PM2, you want to offer a little more depth than that. You want to say, here's, my love of knives goes all the way down to $25 stuff. That's fine. But today I'm carrying X. Actually, no, on day 2, I walked in carrying the Grimsmo, the Norseman.
Okay.
Good carry. Good choice.
That's right. I went big that day.
And then day 3, I
that's
had my F3.
You mean on? It was day 2.
Day 2.
The Curtis.
Well,
Yeah.
okay. Technically, we were there Thursday, Friday, and
Yeah.
Saturday. So we were wandering around with knife people on Thursday. So there was knife stuff
Okay.
on Thursday pre-show.
Right.
God.
So those are. I'm kind of curious. Actually, you mentioned the Curtis F3. So I have one of the OG Curtis F3s from like years ago when it was originally a flipper and all that.
Yeah.
And how does it compare in thickness compared to the new one?
I have never had my hands on the OG, so I could not tell you that.
I do know. I mean, my understanding is that he did thin both the knife and the blade stock a little bit. Is yours Magna Cut?
No, it's not mine.
What is yours?
Where is it? Here, let me go find it.
Will
Sure,
B
go
goes
find it.
big every day because he always carries a Norseman.
Not
Not a bad one to carry.
Yeah.
I
It's such a
kinda
useful
liked
knife.
it and didn't like it and ended up selling it and just I don't know. I mean, I kind of wanted to like a Norseman.
That I have one is entirely your fault.
I know. Sorry,
I hated
not
that
sorry.
thing. I got this. What do they call it? Tactical horse penis. I got this bronze tactical horse penis from Dirk, and I was like, I'd never seen one before. I was very excited, and I was like, it's really thin, and the action's amazing. Why is it so much money? It like made me angry.
Yeah.
It did. And then I reviewed it. My review was kind of, and then I sent it back. And then I went about 6 or 9 months later, I went to California Custom. And I was in my head, I think you guys have heard this. I know Dirk has.
Yeah,
I was
please.
comparing $2,500 custom knives to that stupid Norseman. With all the other knives I've owned, I'm like, the Norseman's got better action than. Wait, I hate that knife. Okay, put it down. Start again. The Norseman feels better than the. So when an opportunity to get another one came along, and it was basically as though I had built it, right? It was the plain silver with the stonewash blade, like the acid wash blade. It was the right combination. I was like, okay, that's the one I'll own. I'll never sell it unless my car blows up.
Okay.
Because I would never buy another one. I would never get another one. But now that I've got this one, it's mine.
Yeah, they're great. I was just like you too. For years I'm like, that's not for that amount of money. I'm gonna buy something else. And eventually they became, when they first started becoming available on the website, right? Because for years it was like, you have to be picked and on their email lottery system and whatnot. So when they finally came in stock, I remember it was just the first few months, I saw a blue and gold one. I'm like, I might as well buy it. It was $950. It wasn't marked up like to $1,500 like they were. So I'm like, I could buy it and flip it for what I bought it for really easily. So let me try one. So I bought one, ordered it, and it's still back there.
For knife guys, that says everything.
Yep.
Yeah. So
there you go.
There it is. So it does look considerably thinner than the original.
I was thinking when we were over at Hellacious and I was picking them up, they had a purple one.
Yeah.
The purple one was thicker.
No, I think it was, I don't remember, but the purple one did not have the flipper.
The purple one didn't have the flipper, and I need the flipper because on a knife this size with my arthritis, it's hard for me
Let's see
Yeah.
if I can get mine.
I actually like it better with the flipper. I had one in that was a non-flipper, and I was excited to check out the non-flipper version.
Yeah.
But I think I like it with the flipper better.
Here's the original.
Oh, it is thicker.
Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So and then there's the big old flipper that he did before.
Oh, so
then
he's
there's the
definitely
so the flipper is
refined the flipper.
Yep.
Yeah, for sure. The flipper is better now.
Definitely.
Oh, Warnie though, come on.
Yeah, but his is like mere polished. It's kind
That
of
is. Yeah.
And it's one of my favorite steels. It's XHP.
And this is actually
I love that
MagnaCut.
stuff.
I said no, but it is.
It is.
Yep.
Very
It is
nice.
what?
MagnaCut.
Oh, okay.
No.
Yeah, I've been toying with the idea of getting one, and then I saw a Knife's video, and I was like,
Yeah.
And I had my own issues when I ordered mine too. Like
So
the
when
color
we
was
went,
wrong.
I'm like, okay, I'm not going to buy anything. I had a limit that I wanted to spend. And I walked by and I saw this one and I saw the purple one. And I grabbed the purple one, but I couldn't, my thumb just wouldn't go that far, right? The arthritis. And then he's all, well, I have these. And then, so it
Well, I'll be honest. I'm kind of curious about the non-flippers because you can even tell by the pivot design and the angle that this was designed to be a flipper knife. So, like, it doesn't look like he changed any of the geometry where everything sits. So I'd be kind of curious to see how easily they like thumb flick.
It wasn't bad if I remember. I just preferred the flipper version better when I did a video of the non-flipper.
Very cool knife though.
Sometimes I think I'm a simple person in many ways. Like I like flipper, not like there's this whole there's this cycle of knifing, right? Everybody likes flippers. Nobody likes flippers. Everybody wants front flippers. Nobody likes front flippers. Everybody wants
never liked the front flipper. I mean, I kind of tolerated the front flippers, but I've never loved them.
From someone who grew up in the era of
I'm going to excuse myself for just a quick second.
Yep.
This was a marvelous invention that shouldn't be ignored just because we've all had 1,000 of them.
Right.
Agreed.
Right. And so it's such a simple and easy solution to how do you make a knife open fast without a spring that I don't get tired of it. Now, do I like thumb stuff? Sure, I like variety, but I'm never going to be like, I would like that knife if it only didn't have a flip. No.
Agreed.
That's not me.
Dave, that's a good one. The small Sabenza 31 Insigno Maximate blade. I like the large version. The small Sabenza is too small for my hands, but for Dave, he's a little bit of a smaller guy, so that would be perfect for him.
See, that's a really nice. I have an affinity for Chris Reeve knives just because they're exactly what they're supposed to be.
Yep.
And
I love the Insigno blade. That's my favorite blade they make.
I'm in a weird spot. I've got that Umno Zon, and I love the Zon. Just it feels the kind of the mass of it, but I have the Tanto and I want the drop point.
Yeah, I had a couple of Tanto large and a small 21 that kind of matched and stuff. I don't know. I like a Tanto blade.
Yeah.
But not in a Chris Reeve. Like it doesn't work for me in that blade. I don't know.
So here's the manly reply. The drop point Umnumzon is just prettier than the Tanto.
So you guys are talking about Chris Reeve knives. I saw somebody in the comments said Maximate blade.
Yeah, we'll
is that a thing? I missed that piece of it. Are they doing Maximate now?
That's what I was going to ask.
Yeah, you said that back up here a little bit.
I don't know.
I'm not sure about that, but I did read that they're going to move to MagnaCut real soon too.
I think everybody's going to give MagnaCut a try.
Yeah. That seems to be the
thing, and everybody's going to give it a shot.
So they went and they leaned in. Everybody tried S45.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. And it turns out it's not. It wasn't better enough than S35 to make anybody
last
care.
Long at all.
No, that just kind of went shink in and out.
Just become right. As soon as Spyderco makes it the baseline steel, nobody cares anymore.
Right.
Right. Because now there's 10 million of them out there. And also S45, it's 10 better than S35. That's really how it feels. I've had enough of both now to tell you that there's functionally no difference. MagnaCut done right does hold an edge better than S35 VN, and it does a number of things a little bit better. And so I think we're going to see it for a while. It makes sense, as a step up. But again, if Spyderco moves to MagnaCut, we're going to have MagnaCut Plus, or no one's going to care.
You're not wrong there.
It's interesting. I was thinking about steel a lot last week because me and Dirk and my coworker, I had these custom Skaha V2s made with like fat carbon on them. And this was probably like one of the last that they're going to make in S35 VN. And like Dirk and I have kept ours nice, because, we have a gazillion. But this guy used it as one and only. And I'm talking going through staples and boxes and things. Like, he's abused this knife, actually. He's one of my technicians at work. And the way that S35 has taken his abuse, and it's still sharp. I could still pop hairs on it.
Yeah.
But he's been beating up now for what? 2 months, a month and a half, 2 months.
Yeah, about a month and a half ish, I guess.
Yeah, still cuts. Edge hasn't been touched. I was blown away. And I like this. It's like the space race. There's the steel race,
Yeah.
I'm kind of like satisfied with what we had before. So like I'm looking forward to seeing these new steels. I bought one knife in MagnaCut. It was it's the one, the guys who make the pens, tactile turn.
Tactile turn.
Oh yeah. So
I tried that, and so far the steel seems to be cutting well and holding the edge and all that good stuff. But so does my M390 right now, and so does my S30.
Well, and so I hate to bring heat up because it's such it's, oh my god, whatever. But MagnaCut is very sensitive. There's a real sweet spot. The guy that made it, I can't remember the name of the guy who
Larry Thomas.
Yeah, who mixed it up. Very open about this. Or below a certain point, there's no point in it. If you're above a certain point, it gets brittle. It's a technical steel for a technical job, which is knife making. And whereas S35, since we've all had so much of it in any degree of factory give a shitness and how accurate they want to be, it really falls into any category. Chris Reeve S35 is better than, almost in my experience, because I have had a couple of them, is better than almost anybody else's S35 VN. And then for a while, Wii was absolutely killing it with their S35 VN.
Oh, yeah.
You're right. If you've got a CPF 20 CD blade from a few years ago and you compare it against that particular stretch of Wii knife, or even Kaiser towards the end of 2018, and then compare, the S35 is going to hold up beautifully, and the CPM 20 CD is going to look like crap. It's just not. It's not done like it's supposed to be done.
Right.
Phases where it's really good, but then sometimes.
Well, that's the problem with large manufacturing, right?
Yeah.
The tighter you make the tolerances, the more expensive it is to make. When you're like, it can be within 10 points of where we want, then they're not throwing away nearly as much steel, and they're not having to reduce stuff nearly as much, so they don't care. And so for a while, they get really refined, everything's great, and then it starts to stretch out, and then you don't quite know what you're going to get. Yeah. So we'll see.
That's why like steels like 14C28N are great steels, because that's their wide tolerance of heat treat, right? And some of these other steels out there. So even if you're not good at heat treating, you're going to nail it somewhat anyways. But if you take the initiative to be a MagnaCut producing company knife, and you don't heat treat it properly, and you miss that little narrow mark, then that kind of sucks, right? So
yeah, and then it sets off the community into a spiral of MagnaCut sucks conversation.
I think some other maker made a whole video about how MagnaCut sucks, and he doesn't believe the science and all of that, and it's because he couldn't figure out how to do the heat treat right. But yet now he's mass producing a bunch of them. But we won't go there. But I do agree with Will Carey, who says, "So you're saying that you're getting old?" Well, yeah, I'm getting old. And the older stuff is just fine white change. I don't like change in the first place, so I'm good with just staying with what we got.
Well, I mean, as somebody who grew up when 440C was
the steel.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I mean,
Okay, so maybe we need to come a little bit more forward than that.
But that's what I mean. There is
It's
going to
good,
be a
though.
role in advancement. There should be, and as machining gets better, and as particularly as the mass manufacturing machine for knives gets ever more refined, we're going to see less of that heat treat shenanigans on the higher end stuff.
Yep.
Because they're taking the people out of it almost entirely. After a while, it's going to be steel. At this
Also, the thing is I want to know how many people. Hey, Paul, how many people go out and literally beat crap out of their knives to the point where they need that spectacular steel?
Not me.
None of us.
Right?
Alex probably the most.
Alex and
out
the
of
guy
our
he was talking
group,
about
but
beating the snot out of his
Depending
knife.
on the day, I guess. But then
There
if I
are
go to
some
beat
people.
something up hard, I'll pick a fixed blade.
Right.
So I pick the
100%
right
correct,
tool
in
for
which case
the right
1095 is
job.
going to do me just fine.
Right. Yeah, like if I go to the office, S35 is beautiful. I mean, S30 works beautifully too. I don't need 3V or whatever. I honestly don't even care what steel's on the knife because to me, they're all pretty well within the realm of cutting well as a tool nowadays. Unless you go to the gas station, you're probably going to be okay, in most respects, even with a Civivi or like a $58 knife, like Ben Peterson's just showing off, right? His little $58 scale swap. Yeah, the Lander.
Yeah.
So, it just depends on really what your realistic expectations are.
And if you're buying a current modern folder, generally speaking, regardless of the steel, they're going to have done it basically right, and it's going to do everything you need it to do.
Right.
Huh? You're not wrong.
And a lot of times too, I think people need to think of steels. Some makers think of steels too for the type of finish it takes. Some of them polish out nicer. Some of them do other things better, like CPM 154 or XHP, for example, is another great one that mirrors great, right? And you take M390, it's going to take a lot more effort to even get remotely close to the same kind of mirror polish you are. So when it comes to there's other factors too with steels than just cutting performance that people take into effect. What's up, Naf?
Got Naf in the
Hey,
house. And
We're
then
just saying how Ben Peterson's likes your name.
and I gotta highlight this one here from Tony. He likes cheapo knives.
Yes.
Yeah, this is the cheapo one that he just had sent in.
That's
Since
sweet.
we're talking
That
cheapo
just
knives.
screams gas station.
Yeah, this is certainly a cheapo knife. This is one of Anthony's.
Is that layered copper Damascus stuff? I mean, what is the
Baker Forge, right?
Yeah, this is Baker Forge Hitachi Blue Damascus, which I don't know why they call it Hitachi Blue because there ain't no blue.
Yeah,
no, that's
right.
the Hitachi Blue is it's a type of steel. It's a Japanese. I forgot what they call it, but it's a good steel.
Yeah, and then they did some Mokume scales. This is an Odin custom that I just got the other day, and Anthony hasn't even seen it yet. My unboxing video is the first time Anthony saw it because Odin wouldn't even send him any pictures of it as he was making it.
So it says blue steel's an alloy steel made of white steel.
Yeah.
Tungsten and chromium, a low content of impurities. Produced by Hitachi.
Yeah, it's very similar. It's like a cutlery steel is really what it is.
Yeah.
Like on chef's knives and stuff.
They have it on a lot of their kitchen stuff here.
Yep.
It's a very cool knife, but there's a lot of copper in it, so it's got that penny smell. So for me, I'm going to do a video and send it off to Tony, and he can do what he wants with it, but I can't. The whole smell of the copper stuff bothers me.
I have a couple superconductor knives like that where you get that Nubian smell. It's not ideal. Like my Ziba does that really bad. That full copper scale Ziba I have, the Angry Bird. You can really smell that one and smell your hands after you're holding it.
Yep.
See, I don't need that in my life.
Yeah.
I don't. I just don't. I don't need a knife that I'm like I was carrying. That's weird, and I'm cool.
Yeah, I have a copper flashlight. I have 2 copper flashlights, but they're both going to get sold or given away because I went through a little copper phase.
I understand why people like it. I like I get the whole chasing the patina and the whole thing, but
Yeah.
The extra 5 pounds it adds to your average pocket knife never made any sense to me. I'm like, what are we doing now? Inlay or some of the Damascus got that really fine,
line of copper.
Line in it. That's fantastic looking.
Oh yeah,
that's beautiful. But I don't want, Adrian sent me a bunch of damn design knives in both copper and brass, and they're gorgeous. Okay. But those are heavy knives to begin with.
Yeah.
Yes.
And if I'm going to have a knife that weighs 7 ounces, it better have a 6-inch blade, like 5. I want a big knife. But I don't get it. It's not for me.
You like it because you tell me stick that in your pocket when I have my shorts.
So we started that by saying I like cheap, like basically budget knives, and it made me start laughing because I got a bunch of these in the house right now.
Oh boy,
these are elite tacticals. This is gas station level maximum.
Okay.
And yet I kind of like them.
It's not as ugly as.
That's not so bad.
It's really not. It's really not. Yeah.
No, but they're all blacked out, and they've got they scream elite tactical on them, and on the other side they're really proud that this one is 8CR13 MOV. Like it's,
and the name. The name is very proudly represented.
This
on
is
there.
the Conqueror.
Wow.
Okay. I mean,
yes,
but. It's got what they call it's like an axis lock, except that the axis of the axis lock is vertical instead of along the horizontal plane.
Oh, okay.
So kind of like an ant lock, right?
Like an ant lock.
Yeah, but they call it the DLM, dynamic locking mechanism. Thank you very much.
Okay.
And it's a hoot. And they're $40. I love this thing. It's ridiculous. Why
that
wouldn't
is pretty cool.
See, and then I always say, so if you get a knife like this, it's $40. Are you going to worry about breaking it?
Not really.
No,
because you're going to go get another one.
Or you're going to have a couple and you're going to throw it in your motorcycle bag and you're going to throw it in your truck toolbox and you're just going to leave it in the back of your toolbox.
Because you don't care.
And I'll tell you
forever because you don't care. It's always going to be there.
Right.
The fit and finish on this is surprisingly good. There's not like a bunch of sharp edges. There's not like gaps. It's really well
That's
done.
pretty funny. Yeah.
My review, I did 3 of these. They go live this week, and the whole time I'm reviewing, I'm like, I don't know what to tell you guys. This is stupid, but I kind of like it because it's not badly done.
I think there's a great spot for those types of knives. I just got in a bunch of, kind of on the verge of gas station-y from a company, Sharper Edges, that reached out to me.
Yeah.
And some of them are a little bit more gas station-y than not. And I was very honest with the guy who reached out to me about it, and whatnot. And he still offered to send me some. So that was cool.
Any dragons or falcons involved?
No, I didn't have him send me any of those. But they're not bad for what they are.
Right.
And they're in that 30, I got to look. They're in that 25 to 40 range, right? Dollar range. And again, I think they're great to have on your motorcycle, on your bicycle, even if you have a little tool bag in your bicycle or your e-bike or whatever, because you don't care if it gets broken, you don't care if it gets lost, you don't care if it starts to rust or stolen.
Yep.
Right.
You can have 5 of those and put them in every vehicle, in every little saddle bag, and you're good.
I need to buy some of those for work because then when the guys go, hey, can I borrow your knife? I'll be like,
yes,
sure. Here you go.
Now, Alex, you could buy a crate of these, replace every box behind you with an Elite Tactical, and buy yourself a new house.
Well, I mean, there's always surprises in here, man. They're not all expensive knives. Trust me on that.
This could replace the war crime, Dirk.
Maybe. Well, sometimes practicality goes out the window.
Oh, God, that's beautiful. That's just ridiculous, man.
Yeah, I like that one.
I refuse to handle that one.
Yeah, this is the Vandermeulen Blade Works Double Homicide.
Homicide.
When you just don't care.
That knife is so badass, it will kill you twice.
Right.
Yeah. And I mean, it's big.
I will say that
that's what she said. That's what she said. That's what she said.
They went to the same blade shape factory. It's got that got that weird recurve going on, and they're really aggressive tanto.
Oh, yeah. Like a phallic.
Oh,
Yep.
yeah.
I was carrying something pretty impractical myself too.
See, that's just cool. It's goofy looking, but I love those.
Right? I cannot wait until Tuesday.
And this is one of the old school ones with the dimples on it. One of the 3V
man.
ones. So this is one of the OG ones. But then I had Eric Shepard make a custom scale out of some carbon fiber for me. But, and I put it, look, it's got a deep carry clip. Found on eBay, baby.
Nice.
So
I love that, man.
Yeah, tough, man.
And I'm going to show something very boring by comparison.
Oh, that's cool. That is not boring at all. That's the cuff, right?
Yeah, this is the Cuff 4.0.
Okay.
It's beautiful.
And it's kitchen utility folder. And he is successfully kitchened. And I love this thing. It's lightweight. It's fast. It's very sharp. I love it. It's very
great.
Cool. I enjoy. It's like Dirk said a bunch of times. Like I enjoy an impractical knife sometimes. Big, bulky, weird, whatever it is.
Sometimes you have to just get that stupid knife. It's like my ex-sister-in-law who, like, every time she saw a puppy that was just hideous.
Yep.
But you just fall in love with it.
Right.
Yeah.
You gotta have it.
The ugly puppy syndrome.
Yes.
And the conversations they start, right?
Ugly knife syndrome.
That's right.
They're conversation starters. Even
really
people who are not knife people at my work, like, I mean, of course, at work, everybody knows me, so they're always like, "Oh, what are you carrying today?"
Right.
Yeah, but it's funny. Like these people probably thought prior to knowing me, they probably thought a knife was a scary thing, and then now, they're like, "What?" They're pocket checking me. They're not even knife people.
Right, but they want to know. That is one thing I do miss about working in the office was the knives and the socks, right? Because I have a sock thing too.
Oh yeah, the socks was
and so when you go to a meeting and there's another guy there and you kind of checking out each other's sock, like it's totally crazy. But they used to come over to my desk in my office and be like, "Hey, what do you got in your pocket? What socks you got?" Like, so I do miss that part of the interaction from working at home the last 4 or 5 years now. So yeah, that part I do miss.
That's another reason why I kind of split my channel into watches too now, because I love the watch. Like I do customer service. I'm a service advisor at a dealer. So nothing but people all day long. So a lot of times, especially now I got into watches and I kind of like know what's on people's wrists. I had this customer that came in. He declined a bunch of work on his car to fix it. And when he came to pick up the car, I'm like, "Wow, is that a white face Rolex Explorer on your wrist?" He's like, "Yeah." He's like, "Oh, you know these things?" I'm like, "Yeah, that's really nice, man." And then it kind of like, "Okay, well, I'm going to make an appointment. I'll see you next week." It was kind of an interesting dynamic, once you start to connect with somebody on something, the mentality kind of changes. And it was probably me poking at him like, "You got all that money, you don't want to spend like $700 on your car."
Right. Well, and that's easier to do with the general public, is kind of check out their watch and say something about their watch rather than a knife, right? Because you may see a pocket clip.
Oh, if I see a pocket clip, I say something.
So, but with a watch and stuff, I think that's just a much more easy segue. Speaking of watches, what were you wearing today, Alex? I don't think Peter and Christine are into really watches. So, but
I was carrying
watches on.
I was carrying the Boulder Field Medic chronograph. It's a titanium watch.
Okay.
It's one of these little micro brands from Malaysia, Quartz movement chrono, and it's got all the what do you call them? The not complexities, whatever.
Complications.
Thank you. For like taking heart rates and everything.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
And then it's got a quick, like it's a chronograph, but it's kind of cool because it's got a quick reset and like sweep kind of thing. So you can like take one measurement and then go from one to another really quick. So it's a really useful tool. And I'm a lefty, and it's rare when I got a lefty axis watch.
Oh, okay.
See, that's cool.
That was cool. Yeah.
I love watches. I used to have some, but when I got into tracking all my various body
Steps
mechanisms
and fitness and all
it
that.
just so for a while I would wear like the Fitbit thing on the right wrist to wear my watch.
Okay, yeah.
And after a while, I just went, that's too many things.
I get that. I
But I
also had a quartz on today. It's the Grand
Oh,
Seiko.
God. That is not a regular quartz.
Well, I don't know. It is a quartz watch.
Yes.
So it's their 9F 9F86 because it's the GMT version. So
there is this ebb and flow to watch complexity that I really love, right? So there's watches that look like they got all the bells and whistles and they cost, $50.
Yep.
Then as you go up this line, they get simpler and more elegant and more refined. Yep. And then you get to a certain point and then they start getting weirder again the more expensive they get. It's this, I just love that about it, right? There's this like all the bells and whistles at a budget, and then there's that watch that costs $10,000 that just looks like a watch.
Yep.
And then there's the next step, but all those bells and whistles are things like diamonds. And there's
like the gaudy watches. I do have some more expensive. I mean, that the Grand Seiko new, I think, listed for $3,200 or something like that. This one.
It's weird that I know that's actually very reasonable for a watch.
Yeah, it is. And I have ones that are more expensive, but the gaudy stuff, the diamonds and the that's not my thing. I don't want some $150,000 rainbow Daytona or $300,000.
Yeah.
Forget that noise. Even if I had the money, I wouldn't buy it.
Yeah.
So
that is
Professor
so many good knives.
EDC says, "Oh, that watch rabbit hole is dangerous. I kind of got hooked in a reunion with a bunch of friends and started matching the Jack Wolf knife with friends' watches, and it was so entertaining. Yeah, it's dangerous.
That's what I do on Instagram. I try to match my wife, my wife, my knife, and
you should have come with
watch.
us to the show then. You could have matched your wife.
Yeah, I like doing that, matching the knife and the watch. It's kind of fun.
I do like to try to match stuff, depending on where I'm going and what I'm doing and stuff. But
that's my inner child, just entertaining myself.
You both take phenomenally beautiful, like the watch knife combo pictures are just gorgeous.
Oh.
Right.
Yeah, you both have a really good eye. The pictures that you post up on Instagram and stuff are amazing. Or I'm just all like, I have a knife. Click. I mean,
Well, it looks really funny when I'm at work squatting down and, angling like this when, like, my coworkers are out in the back having a cigarette. They're like, what are you doing? I'm like, don't look, like I'm like doing something I'm not supposed to, But then there's my watch and my knife laid out, on the block of wood or whatever.
Right.
So
thanks, Dave. I always wanted to have a 9F quartz. So it's super accurate.
You forgot to even say what's so special about that watch.
The movement is super accurate. It's like plus or minus 10 seconds a year, whereas most or a lot of other watches are plus or minus 5 to 10 seconds a day.
Yeah.
So that's why I really wanted a 9F, is to have a grab and go watch, right? Most all my other watches are automatics, so they die after a couple of days. So if I grab something, I have to wind it up, I have to set it, and then I can leave the house. So it's like an ordeal. Well, with the Grand Seiko, I can just grab it because it's quartz. It's going to last about 3 years on the battery, and I can just grab it and go. And
the best part is it's 39 millimeters, so it seems to be too small for Dirk.
It's a little small.
It might have to leave his collection, whereas 39 is my sweet spot.
It's a little bit on the small.
So very cool, very cool. So tell us more about what you guys saw at Blade Show. I'm curious because we all know the makers, we know the companies, but what's like the new trend coming out? What can we look forward to?
So it's really interesting that you say that, because this is something we discussed earlier. Yeah. Blade Show West isn't really a new drop show.
Okay.
It's middle of the year. The big drops have sort of already happened. It is a place for kind of a re-push of what's going on already.
Yeah, things that already dropped. There's a few, like Vero. But Vero is always dropping prototypes. So they did have a few prototypes there. But otherwise...
Arcane had their collab, the last collab that Elijah Isham did.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Devo had their new one. Their new
the
proto.
Kevin and Colin, they had their protos available.
Yeah.
But
it wasn't a big.
Yeah, it
It's
wasn't a
not a
big
big
unveiling
push.
show. It's more of a reconnection show and kind of,
Mhm.
and it's not even what's coming because it's not far enough along in the year.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah,
You
because
know,
that's
and-
usually October, right? Well, no, that isn't it the time of the year where stuff
About
starts.
middle of the year, they start talking about what might happen. Come October, nobody's ready to release the 23 stuff yet, and the 22 stuff is still making its way out to market. The biggest thing going on at the Spyderco booth, for instance, was the factory seconds. They had apparently a crate of Maximate PM2s and PM2s and Para 3s, and they were selling for $80. That was the big push.
Oh, damn it!
If I would have known that, I would have grabbed a whole bunch, but I didn't know. I didn't even know that.
And
Protec
nobody bought me anything. I see how it is.
Protec has redone the thing you got for
the
natural.
Mordax.
The Mordax.
Yeah.
It's finally got an actual edge on it instead of an axe grind.
Really nice.
It's considerably thinner than the one I had. So there's little refinements that come along like that.
That was a bold move to bring that back because it was like almost a hit when it kind of came out. People were like warm to it, but not quite there. It kind of faded out quietly.
It's almost like they're a lot of the knives that they have there are ones that they're refining to see whether
lots of
they're
Magna Cut.
Whether they're going to reproduce them, maybe, but with those refinements. If that makes sense.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
Okay.
That makes sense.
Blade West, really, to me at least, it's nice to see the big companies there, but it's funny you said about the makers. It really is the show to go to see the small makers, the custom guys.
It really
is.
I spent about an hour talking to a guy named Donald Bless. It's Bless Knives. He's got some of the most interesting custom. You'd like him, Dirk. In fact, when I talked to him about maybe sending one out because you'd love it. Not because it's super fancy, because they're big, but also thoughtful. They flip really well. There's a passion to them.
They're very Dirk.
They are. They're big
awesome.
and they've got interesting blade shapes because of the way he does like the bevels and the foot, and the swedges are not just like there's like shape to them.
Yeah. And where is he out of?
He's out of Idaho.
I don't know.
Okay.
He's out of Idaho. We met a young maker named Reagan. She's 21 years old. She's been forging fixies since she was 16.
She wants to get into folders.
But her handle work, she makes little things, but her handle work was beautiful.
Her absolute everything was
no gaps,
perfect.
no mars, no misses. Everything was, and this is she was at Blade Atlanta, but I never would have seen her there because there's
okay.
You tend to go to all the big makers for all the debut stuff in Atlanta.
Yeah.
Right. But here it's great because you're going to all the customs. The other one
Detroit.
we were getting ready to go to the after party, and Pete went back to his hotel. I went with Jody and Nellie. We're all meeting back up. Well, Jody had run upstairs, so Nellie and I walked in, and there's this bag of food sitting on a bench. And we're like, what is this? So this guy comes down and gets his food. We'll come to find out his name was Sean, and he's from a company called Scorpion 6, and him and his wife make custom knives for Scorpion 6.
Oh yeah. I'm not super good friends with them, but I did talk to them a lot at the shows. Great.
Yeah. They were cool.
And their stuff is amazing, and they are just some of the neatest people. So I mean,
they're really good people.
Yeah.
I'm not sure which one I've talked to more and had a more pleasant time with. Shane or his wife. Like they're
both just
super great.
So awesome.
But that's the Blade West experience is you get the chance. If you've got a maker or somebody that you like their stuff, you'll never get a chance to get the conversation you want in Atlanta.
No.
You will at Blade West. You
Good
will.
point.
It's just slower.
We keep saying it's more intimate.
It is. It's mellower. So it's funny because that's a great question. People get asking that. What's new? I don't know. It's not what it was. I will say that most of the
California Custom Knife Show.
Sorry.
That's kind of like California Custom Knife Show. It's not about showing a bunch of new stuff. Have you guys ever made it to that one?
Yeah, we were there last year.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Right after I left, you guys were.
We missed you. Yeah.
You guys just missed us. Yeah. I might be going this year. I'm not sure yet because I'm the Saturday guy at work. So
I might come down for a couple of days. I was looking at some flights. I was going to try not the new airline, but JSX out of Concord.
Oh,
What is that?
It's kind of a hop on, hop off. It's not like a charter airline, but it's more private-ish. But it was cheaper than the Southwest flight.
oh,
Oh,
And their planes hold like 30 people. So, and you like get there 20 minutes beforehand.
what's
and
it called?
JSX. And they go out of Oakland and Concord and into Santa Ana and into Burbank and into Vegas and stuff like that. And it was like right in line with Southwest pricing. And they say you pull up on the tarmac, you drop your keys with the dude 10 minutes before your flight, you get on and you go.
Okay.
Sweet.
I'm like,
that's amazing.
even if it's $10 more, I'll try it. Like,
Oh,
so
hell yeah.
I don't know. It's something to check out. I don't know, but I may come
We're-
down for CCKS. I don't know yet.
Well, I have a
We're
couple
thinking
makers
about
I
it.
see every year, so like I kind of want to see them. I don't think I'm going to buy anything.
I just go to hang out with people.
Well, just
That's
go
really
see
why
my
I go to
friends.
CCKS.
Yeah.
So imagine California Custom by a factor of, I'm going to say 10.
10.
I mean, you could fit California Custom in the first like quarter,
Yeah.
you
Mhm.
know, of but it's that same vibe. It's just people
Yes.
are there, I don't know. I really like it. I like it better than I like Atlanta. I do.
Okay.
Just
Bearded
because I
Doom
like.
is asking, what was the girl's name again that was 21?
Oh,
Reagan Lee.
Yeah.
Reagan Lee. Reagan Lee Knives.
Yes.
She's on Instagram. And then the other one was Bless Knives.
See,
or
I'm
Bless-
already
Bless
impressed.
Knives,
I'm already
BLESS.
impressed because a 21-year-old's giving out business cards. That's already something.
Oh,
right
yeah. And
there,
check out
right?
her logo. I mean, that's
Like-
just cool.
What 21-year-old is ready like that?
No, that's great.
And she sold all but 2 of her knives.
Yeah,
Oh,
day
wow.
1 she had a table full of knives. By the end of day 2, she had 3.
That's right.
Semi-private Detroit. Not really private. It's like semi-private flight. I don't know.
Yeah,
It
I
sounds
got a-
more fancy than it is, Detroit.
I got a heavy 25-minute drive down to CCKS, so it's gonna be brutal.
Yeah, we got a.
It's gonna be brutal.
It's 5.5, 6
6
hours for
hours.
us. So this
When
flight
is
sounds
what's
pretty
the
good.
dates of CCKS again? It's like the 28th, 29th?
You know,
No,
I don't
it's the
even
week-
know.
I think it's the weekend before that, right?
It might be the last one of.
We'll find out here in just a second,
October.
Will. I don't remember exactly either. I think I was just gonna fly down, but I may drive. I don't know. I've driven
Well,
a
if you
couple of
fly,
times.
I'd pick you up
flown
like
a couple
last
times.
year. It's not a big deal.
I'm watching her struggle trying to type California Custom Knife Show. It's
I
fascinating.
broke 2 nails and they're important typing nails.
Oh boy.
The Saturday
So-
the 22nd and Sunday the 23rd.
22nd and 23rd.
Yep.
So Will is in New York that weekend, so that doesn't work for him.
So that's not this weekend, but next weekend.
Yeah, it might be coming too fast. I don't know. I gotta look and
I
see.
can look at Oakland.
I was kind of thinking
Well-
of coming down like on Friday and leaving on Sunday. So I don't know. I don't know if I want to pay for a hotel that way.
It's
Yeah.
actually cheaper to go out of Oakland for us than it would be to go out of Concord.
Oh, apparently Oakland's cheaper. on
If
Oakland
you
was a
people
little
watching out there are inclined or in California, like in SoCal, like me, I recommend that show because it does, and the only Blade show that I've been to was Blade Show West in LA. And that's the only thing I could really compare to, which I assuming is nothing like really what Blade Show normally is like. But California Custom Knife Show is where you're going to meet some of the big dogs out there, like Brian Efros, Ian
Mhm.
from CMF Knife Works, and you're going to see a lot of like the guys you see on the Killer Customs, forums
Facebook
and
group,
stuff
yeah.
like
and
that.
Yeah.
Artisan.
And yeah,
Artisans there.
Riot's
Nipco
usually
is
there. Riot's always there.
Baspinelli's usually there.
Yeah.
Riot's there.
Crane's Cutlery's probably gonna have a booth.
Yeah.
Crane's Cutlery, big shout out to them. I like those guys.
Yeah,
Andy's a good
Bradford's been there before.
There's some great ones too. Shane Seibert. Me and Dirk met Shane like a couple times at CCKS.
Yep.
Kurt American, right? Another
Yep,
big hit
Kurt's
now.
there. Met him a couple times there now.
Yep. Yeah, a lot of great custom knife makers. So if you guys ever like say, well, I see them on YouTube, I never got a chance to hold a full custom or see what they're like. That's a great place to go and like handle a bunch of handmade knives.
Yep.
So I like that about that. I'm not too fond of Recon One running it, but they've done an okay job these last couple of years. I think they were better before. But
I don't know one way or the other.
When Cutlery Plaza was doing it.
Oh yeah, that's right. Cutlery Plaza before that. Rest in peace to them. That was a cool show.
Yeah, it's a good, fun little show. I mean, you know, it's not super huge, so I like that part of it myself. So I'm more of a quiet in and out, talk to a few people and go. I never really talk to people because nobody knows who I am. I just kind of come and go, and it is what it is. So I like that part.
Hush. I don't know what
I don't have that opportunity.
No, you guys.
If I went by myself, I would.
You guys are like in the popular celebrity type status. So you guys walk in and there's like a entourage with you guys and all that. I would get lost in the mix with you.
It's Peter and Christine.
Yeah, that's why I don't.
No, it's Christine and there's Peter. Let me tell you my favorite. So
it's Christine and her husband.
Right. We've come to know Doug Ritter pretty well, right? And that's cool. But every time it's the same thing. If I'm with her, it's Christine, Peter, how are you? This show, he was standing out in the lobby. I walked up and I'm like, hey, Doug, how you doing? And he goes, Peter, how are you? There's this lab. So I'm there. Like, that's nice. Thanks for remembering my name. But
I'm gonna make you feel better about this though, because you know what,
Christine and that guy.
If you're old fashioned, it's always the woman first, right? So he's just being polite. That's all it is. It's just,
yes,
ladies first.
And if it was just Doug, that'd be true. But to be fair, at every knife show, what am I? I'm another bearded schmuck in a t-shirt and cargo shorts. Well, I could literally be any one of 1,000 other guys.
I can never go to a show and say, have you seen my husband? He's got a beard and cargo shorts.
Oh, no.
It would never work.
No.
You know, the only way I can relate to that is when I was younger, I was dating this girl that was into automotive racing like I was. And we used to go to the street races at night, bet for money and such. And the same thing, like, you know, I helped build the car. I made it fast, but she was the celebrity.
Yep.
It's just one of those things. Like,
I'm actually okay with it because it gives me a certain anonymity.
It's fun. I mean,
it's fading. I don't want to be famous.
I don't want to be famous.
Don't care.
Well, too late.
But
you came on our show. That was a big mistake now. But
right. Well, now, of course,
that might drag you down a few points.
You're done.
Yes.
But it is, you know, it's weird. But no, she's just, I thought I was social until I married Christine. And I am social in my own way, but by comparison, I am a complete wallflower. She's phenomenal. And she remembers names from people we met once 2 years ago.
That's part of my job. I mean, I have
When I was doing triathlons years ago, one of the race directors at an event that I did here in Napa several times, he has a thing with names. He remembers everybody's name, not only the participants of the event, but every single person that's introduced to him. He will never forget their name.
Yep.
And as they're walking by, he goes, "Okay, goodbye, Dirk. Goodbye, Lindsay. Goodbye, Bob. My flunky, my guy that was helping me train." As you know, he remembered every single person's name throughout the whole event. And then years later, when you show up, he just goes, "Hey, Dirk, how's it going?" I hadn't seen him in 2 years. Like, it's phenomenal. And he's like that with everybody. Blown away.
See, I work with a lot of customers, and I work with a lot of the bigwigs, and I've always done that. So you have to remember that. I mean, you can't just, oh yeah, so you're the owner, you know.
I'm horrible with names, so I got nothing to say.
So Will Carey's asking. Will Carey's asking about the 99-cent Tag Heuer on Amazon. I bought 2 of them. They have not been mine haven't been canceled yet, but other people's have. So everybody's saying it was
I guess that means they haven't been shipped either, right?
Nah, they were supposed to show up between the 6th and the 12th, And yeah, mine hasn't shipped, so I don't think it's
For
been
those who
canceled
don't
yet.
know, a Tag Heuer, that's like a $3,500 watch they were selling for 99 cents.
Yeah, one of
That's
my
funny.
buddies bought a dozen of them.
Yeah, that was.
I'm
the
guessing
craziest
somebody
thing.
left out a zero somewhere.
Something happened, and they probably canceled them all, or it's somebody scamming for the $6 in shipping. So that's
Yes.
kind of the scam thing, right? We'll give it. But what was weird about that particular one, Will, was that it was sold by Amazon. Like, you know, sometimes they're sold by Billy Bob. Well, this one was sold and supplied by Amazon LLC,
Which
right?
means
So
there has to be something in stock, right?
should have been in stock and should have been legit, but it's seeming as though it's not.
No, that's absolutely somebody forgot a zero, or
They had to have.
Yeah, I have 2 on order just in case. Who knows? Whatever. It was like $9.12 for shipping and 2 watches. I don't know.
I hope they go through.
I don't know. We'll see. If not, oh well.
So now I want to segue to the last part, and I want to actually interview the both of you a little bit and talk about your channels a little bit, because I feel like you two are one entity, but you do have 2 separate channels, which I actually like the way you guys do that, and I think that's great. And I've always been a fan of both of you guys because, you know, I'm just a family-orientated kind of guy, and I love the warmth that comes out of both of you. Warmth is a big thing. I think it's like one of those things. I like you guys have an inviting personality, which means that people who might be scared to approach people might send you guys a message. You guys seem very approachable in the way you do things, and you can be very relatable because you guys are going through a lot of different knives and constantly the new stuff coming out. So between the 2 of you, like, can you guys tell us a little bit about the genesis of both of your channels?
I'll go first because mine's shorter, and hers is, I think, more interesting. No, I think it's more interesting. So I have always used and carried and had knives. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But about 6 years ago, just before I met her, it started to escalate because of YouTube. Right. What I was into, what was available, you know, stuff like that began to really change. For me, it just became, because I'm a therapist. So interacting with people is what I do. It's what I enjoy on a more intimate basis than my incredibly social butterfly human over here. But I like people. And so that's, once I learned that, you know, you can engage with people.
Wait, I'm sorry. Did you hold? I got to stop you there for a second. Did you say you like people?
I do. They're interesting.
Yeah.
That's kind of a foreign concept to me, but
hey, man, just like
maybe
knives,
we'll have a session about that offline together. Maybe
just like pocket knives. Everybody can like something different. Nobody's wrong. Right?
Gotcha. All right, go ahead. Continue.
And when we got together, we both liked watching the YouTube stuff. We both got engaged at level, and so I just realized at one point that I had this sort of large collection, and I thought it would be fun to talk about them, because I really liked that engagement. That it became like the linchpin of conversation. We start talking about knives, and then you're talking about where people live and what they do for a living, and how things go, and that was interesting.
Okay.
She was on board. She thought it was cool, but she was like, you know, these are cool. She's always had knives too. She's a much more manly. She's much tougher than I am.
I'm the man of the house.
But then we went to Blade Show, and she noticed a void.
I was kind of always the silent observer, right? Like, I always have loved knives, but I never had like a real collection, so to speak, myself. I mean, I did, but it was gas station knives, right? Like cheap knives. The one knife I had was a sack. And Pete would be watching people like Jimmy Slash and Birdshot. But I loved them, by the way. And just starting out watching them. And I would just sit and I would listen. And he's like, you know, do you want me to turn this off? And I wouldn't say anything because I'm like really listening, but doing my own thing. And then he wanted to go to Blade Show. So I surprised him for basically an early birthday present. And I thought, well, I want to do something for him. So let's go to Blade Show. I had a blast. But the first day I was walking around the whole time and thinking, where is everything for the women? Where are the women makers? Why are
Ah.
there no women YouTubers besides, Frankie? Why are there no women YouTubers? Why are there not more things specifically for the women out there? And I just went, something has to be done. So I started Women Carry Knives.
That's
So I started
perfect.
the business, and then I went ahead and I started, Instagram and YouTube, and created a Facebook account. And I thought that was kind of my goal, is let's show this male dominated community that we like knives too. We as women like knives. I'm not a huge pink knife person. I don't want cutesy. I'm not, come on, I'm
Right.
but I do have my cute, meaning just the small ones. So you can still throw a small knife at me and I'm like, oh, it's so cute. I want it.
Okay.
But for me, they're tools.
Yeah.
They're tools, and I use them all the time. I always have used them. So I love seeing that the guys are, my goal is get more women out there. The guys are all bringing their wives on the live.
Yeah.
And I just think that's awesome. You're seeing more people come out. I mean, Stella's nice in session. She's out and she's back there. And then there's, of course, Carla, Little Fit Devil.
Oh,
She's
yeah.
a lot more prominent now. And so you're just seeing more women come forward to say, yes, we do carry, we do use, and
And
it's not just you guys, it's not just the men,
because there was no ego investment of like, this is my thing and I will share it with you. There was none of that shit. She's got her own incredibly perceptive and awesome approach to things, and I'm like, I don't want to get in between that and what she wants to do, right? I want to do my own thing, she wants to do her thing, so we get to share this passion sort of behind the camera without like trying to make the other person do it our way. Does that make any sense? Like it's a thing we share, but it gets to be wholly individual, right?
Okay, so somebody made another point. Kyle, he says, unfortunately, there's always knife bunnies, pew pew bunnies. Where's your mouse?
Here.
Okay, knife bunnies or pew pew bunnies, whatever industry insert here. They just use them to market, but not actually grow the market the way they could. I am not there to be a TNA person. What you see is what you get. 9 out of 10 times when I'm on a live, there is no makeup, there is no hair done, and if you don't like it, don't watch me.
So that actually is one point that he brought up that actually I like that was brought up, because that's one thing that differentiates you from a lot of other female knife reviewers that I've seen, is your focus is on the knife and the atmosphere of friendliness and connection, but friends, right? Not
absolutely
really an ad where you're on your G-string and you're doing this and that.
Okay, the most I've done is show the shirt that I'm wearing today, right? I'm like, check it out, you guys. What's my shirt say, everybody? Okay, but it's Salt Lake, Utah, right?
Yeah, that's
the biggest thing I've done.
But it's a joke, and it's obvious.
But that's the fun of it, right? But
right.
That is like the fine line where I'll watch like a female reviewer or I won't. If it's based on fun and like knives, then I'm there and I'm all for it. Swags is another good one, right?
Oh, Swags is my girl.
She's lovely. I don't know her. I've never really talked to her, but I think she's
awesome.
Nice on YouTube.
But, and Kyle, I didn't think you were digging at me or saying anything about me. I simply was just saying that I'm not.
You're not a bunny.
I'm not a bunny. I'm not. I'm not going to sit there and be like, oh, look, here's my knife. That's not your knife. That's your tits. I want to see the knife. Show me the knife.
Right. But there are some people in the knife. Like Kyle's right. There is some prevalence of that in the knives, in the.
That's everywhere.
Whatever trade show you want to go to.
Knives, watches, cars, alcohol.
Alcohol, sex sells.
Yep.
If the primary purchaser is male,
it just does.
You're right. If the primary purchaser for the product is male, there's going to be a little TNA associated with selling it.
Right.
But that doesn't mean that there aren't women that like a really good scotch. And that certainly doesn't mean that there aren't women that can drive the shit out of that car.
Yep.
Right. And so there should be, and there often is it's sort of a subculture, right? That there should be tools and materials and availability for that driver, that knife user, and so when she got into this and that was her passion, I was like, yep, let's do that. I'm 100% on board. But we decided to share, but without, like I said, without trying to step on each other.
So Napster's daughter's name is Tova, and she is awesome. I love her.
Yeah, so the comment here for anybody just listening, Napster Ninja says, my daughter asked one time, is that a girl? Girls can like knives too?
Yeah.
Women carry knives as a role model, breaking gender barriers. I think that's
doing
very
it
true.
right. And doing
That's
it
awesome.
right.
And I've got several viewers, that send me knives and all that, right? Well, in the box of knives that I have right now from one is from his daughter. It's his daughter's favorite knife, who watches my channel religiously and asked Dad to ask me if she could send a knife in.
Oh, that's awesome.
The second person's daughter that has asked to send a knife in. So I think that's
D2 is another one.
And I'm super excited to actually get that video done. And she's a high school sophomore. The other one was like 9-year-old girl. But so whatever grade that is. So
Stella's another one. Todd mentioned Stella, and I finally actually got to meet her this weekend.
Oh, cool.
Her and her wife, and she's awesome too. She's great. She's about the knives. It's about the knives, and I love that.
Yeah.
This, I will say, I know this, not to divert back to Blade West, but the level of family engagement at Blade West is amazing. It is whole families, and it's not, it is just people exploring and looking at things. And you hear a lot, if you're listening, a lot of this one's the right size for you, right? And it's not because it has flowers on it. It's a multi-tool. It's a pry bar. It's the same stuff that we love that because it's useful and it's interesting and it's well made. And yet it's for everybody. It's phenomenal.
Well, right. Nicola Bradford Knives, I did a video that's, if you haven't seen that, go check that out. But she's doing, because she's got a trainer blade, and she created a trainer blade, fixed blade. It's a dull knife, but it's small. It's a very petite size.
Yeah.
The reason she did that is for her daughter, because she wants to teach her daughter how to safely use a knife. And then once she gets to that age where they're comfortable with her knowing that she's going to use it, she's going to be safe. All you have to do is put an edge on it. And she's got it to where if you guys want to buy a trainer blade, fixed blade for your daughter, when you're ready, you can send them the knife. They will put an edge on it.
No, the same trainer one that they have.
Yeah.
The same trainer one.
Sharpen that one and send it back.
Yep.
Absolutely.
So it's the same materials, same blade steel, same everything, just not sharpened.
I mean, wouldn't you love your daughter to have like a Guardian 3 as a trainer and then have it sent in to be sharp? You know what I mean? So it's cool. It's really cool.
That's pretty cool.
That is very cool.
I do like that. Now, Will Carey had posted a comment, said another VC Edge. No, it's not another VC Edge. I just did an unboxing of my knives coming back to me from Alex and Jim Skelton. I did not get another one, but I wanted to throw it out there because I think in another few days, Jason is doing a pre-order again. So you can stay on top of his website and you can order your own. The prices have only gone up slightly to $1,100.
So
slightly.
Kyle makes a comment down here. He says, I like seeing women passionate about whatever they're into, but we can all agree that Bally Boys got to go. So I had a really quick, funny Bally. I call them Bally dancers because it just stuck in my head after Blade Atlanta in 19. So I'm outside smoking because I do that. I'm terrible. I get it. Whatever. And there's all these kids out there with their trainers, right, flipping. And there's a group of older, like T-shirt tucked into like cargo pants, flannel over the top guys out there, and they're like grumbling and mumbling. And I'm looking over, and so to my left is this group of basically cookie cutter, like older white guys. Anyway, they all look exactly the same. They could have all shopped at the same store. And to my left is this group of like diverse, like metalhead through like goth through like raver kids, all sexes and assuredly all gender, and and they're just all into this thing. And I sat there for a few minutes looking left and right and just ended up over in the kid group talking to them about their balisongs because they were passionate, interesting, and not grumpy and angry.
I like the Bally community. I think Ballies are cool.
They are cool, but these kids, they're into a thing and they're good at it. But more than that, they are the next generation of knife buyers.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because they're going to keep coming to these shows, and you can see them already. They start in their little Bally line. They got their whole thing, but by the middle of the second day, they're completely spread out looking at fixed blades and other tools. And so I like that.
And you know that because they're walking around looking at them, flipping their Ballies.
Right. Flip.
Yeah.
Like, what's this? And they're still flipping it. And
I'm a product of the 80s, and I like action movies, so I don't know how I could not like a butterfly knife. That's just, fantastic. I have a few in the box too, and I love them. I'm not like I can flip them and do a few tricks, but I'm not like an aerial and do crazy stuff.
Well, no, you said it.
I love them.
I'm a 70s kid that grew up in 80s action films, so I can open one quickly because that's what we watched in the movies. That's where it's not the art version. It's this is a weapon version of opening them.
Right.
Flip, put it away. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
These kids, I mean, I watched a kid. It was this finger, and it was like the knife was doing things without him. I don't know how, but it would land on his finger for a minute and then go do more things and then come back. It was astonishing.
Beard of Doom.
Yeah, then I know how to do a couple little aerials and little finger tools too. You have to be like just on the perfect side of the blade, or else you're cutting yourself. So it's like not only intricate, but you have to know the safe handle versus the bite handle when you're.
No, you're not wrong. So I get to have my old man moment around that too. When I was a kid, we didn't have these trainer blades. You either cut yourself, I mean, there was a certain risk involved.
I was always told by the OG Bally Song guys that if you train on a trainer, you're going to be so scared when you get to a live blade that it's better to just start with a live blade. Believe it or not. I don't know.
I would kind of have to agree with that because you're going to be so secure in what you're doing with a trainer blade that when you grab a live blade,
you won't know where you're making mistakes until you're bleeding.
I think you're going to cut yourself.
I think there's a lot of truth to that.
Yeah.
I mean, I sent Dirk the perfect Bally Song. I think he still has it over there.
Yeah, that one I kept because somebody's supposed to send me the original version so that I can compare.
You have it handy?
It is.
No, it's in the other room.
Oh. It is. It's an old school cold steel paradox. Remember the slip joint handle one? Right. But I grinded the cams out of it, so it's a real Bally Song now.
Mm-hmm. You turned a cold steel into a real Bally.
Yeah.
Did you hear Lynn Thompson fall over just now?
He would have loved that.
Only Alex would do that, right?
I will say the one bummer about her getting so invested in knives is for the first year or so, I could be like, oh yeah, this was like $90. It's cool.
Oh yeah. I
can't do that anymore at all. Because she's
but he absolutely crapped because when we went to Blade Show, he was sitting there watching me, right? My first knife that I bought, really nice knife, was the HEA Designs Hunter. Front flipper.
That's a nice knife.
That was my first knife. I fell in love with that, and I took that around. Everybody's like, what'd you get? And I pulled that out of the table, and it bit every single person there.
Because it's small and it's sharp.
It was so awesome, but it never bit me.
So,
and then the second one was a Smooth Criminal.
Yeah, it was. I had no idea. So she said a minute ago that she used to sit and listen, to the shows and to the YouTube stuff that I was watching. I didn't know how much until we went to Blade Show. And instead of walking up, and you never know, right? But there was oh, this is really cute. It was, wow, this is really cool. Is it on bearings or washers? What's the blade made out of? And I was just like, okay. And then I was gone. You do your thing. You do you. And we'll meet in the middle and see what happens. And she came back with 2 or 3 phenomenal knives that show. I mean, it was, and then that's when I knew she wasn't doing it for me. I mean, she invested originally her interest because I was there doing it, which was very nice. It felt it was a thing that we were doing together.
Yeah.
But her interest and her involvement in it had become her own.
Now, don't get me wrong. You guys all still know way more than I do, right? Because I've only been doing this for 3 years or whatever. So I've only been, I don't know as much as like you guys know the history or whatever, but somebody will ask me a question.
More. I don't know anything. I just kind of
somebody will ask me a question of something and I won't answer it. If I don't know the answer, I will actually go look it up and learn about it to find out.
Yeah.
So-
Whereas I'm like every other YouTuber, I'll just bullshit my way through it. Oh yeah, I think that's the one from the early 2010 11s with that one had some copper in it. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about.
Yeah, I don't get that excited about this. I mean, I'm excited, but like I don't try to BS my way through. Like, and I know I don't know everything. I'm just a guy talking, and sometimes my shit's gonna be wrong, and then you're gonna correct me in the comments. And 99% of the people do it very nicely.
Enough. I think you guys all know enough. Like any more than that is really like just.
I'm completely willing to say I don't know, and I always have been.
And I will
honestly,
too. The best part for me is there's been a couple people through time who they will make just a shitty comment, right, on one of my videos.
Mm-hmm.
And I think most of the guys are used to, oh, she's not going to say anything because I'm going to tell her. Okay, well then you don't know me that well.
Yeah,
because I'm going to absolutely fire back at you. And there was one guy, I haven't seen him for a long time, but he put up a comment and I saw it like within 5 minutes of him posting it.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, fired back at him. And the first comment from him right back was, oh, wow, I didn't think you were going to call me out on that. And then he just went on to apologize. And I'm like, dude, you don't know if I do or don't know something. So don't be pulling that stuff just because a female. Look, I have built decks. My brother is a general contractor. I can build shit like mad. I worked on cars until I had my son. I can change the brakes faster than my ex could. I mean, I can do all that stuff. But because I'm a female,
people assume certain things.
Yeah, you can't do it.
No.
You know?
Well, I have a different view because I'm trying to turn my daughter into a mini-me. So, and I'm a Marine. Awesome. I'm a Marine, so guns, knives, all that stuff.
I suppose if I knew a therapist, he might tell you that the way to do that is just stay passionate and stay open about it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and that's what I do. That's what I do. She gets to play with like the doll ones and play mostly with the watches.
Yeah.
That's her thing right now. The watches, like she go in the little watch boxes, open them up and try them on. They look ridiculous on her, and she's.
I want to respond to Kyle real quick. No, Kyle, my fascination with nail painting comes because I was in the Rocky Horror Picture Show for 5 years, and then I worked in the clubs in San Francisco for a decade. I look great with color on my nails.
Nice.
We did a live one time and painted his nails just for the hell of it, and we could not talk about anything else because that's the only thing that kept coming up. And he just did it as a joke. It was so funny.
I got nothing.
Color.
I don't know.
What amazes me is guys like Dirk's got a lot of ink. Guys with like a sleeve will be like, "How do you have colored nails?" I'm like, "Listen, reading Rainbow, what are you doing? Like you're clearly into color,
Rainbow,
right? I don't get it. Calm down. People are weird. The dividing line between what is acceptable and what is not is bizarre to me.
For sure.
Kyle wants to know if you do phone sessions. If he doesn't, I will. I'm a certified life coach. I got you.
If you just need somebody to talk to, Kyle, I'll talk to you. I'm not saying my advice will be helpful or good, but I'm willing to just chat. No problem.
Actually, my response is I don't know, Kyle. What kind of session are we talking about?
Right. I'm way more expensive. It's that session,
There was a young woman that worked at the hotel we were at this weekend in Utah, and she was in her 20s,
awesome.
And she was still at the show, and I came back and she looked like she was having a bad day. So I do what I always did. I said, "You okay?" And then this conversation developed, and it never ceases to.
But that's because people don't do that anymore. That's an old thing to do.
Yeah, it just never ceases to. Particularly if you got people around you that are in their like 20s, and it's amazing how much they just need somebody to stop for a minute and say,
"Pay attention to
you okay?"
Yeah.
I think we all do.
No kidding, right? But there's a generational thing. Like I am, because they're so invested, I think, in communicating silently.
Yep.
They don't know that they need somebody to walk up and verbally say, "I see you,
Kyle."
Right.
And it doesn't look like you're having the best day. And so that was just really cool. I don't know, man. I love people. Again, Dirk, I love people.
And and I'm great. I'm good with talking to people about that stuff, and I've done some videos about that, and just mental health awareness and asking people how they're doing. And sometimes you just had to pick up the phone, stop texting, and just pick up the phone and
Yeah.
call your friend and talk to them for 5 minutes, because that can make somebody's day, week, month, that can be life-changing. It really can be. And I think we all just need to do that a little bit more.
Yeah, I'm not
because-
gonna
The guy at Blade Show, the security guy, was sitting in the chair.
Mhm.
His name was Scott.
I would never know
And-
that.
And there was a couple times I walked by and I'm just like, good morning, you know, and he was like, hey. He just looked so sad. So finally, one point I stopped and I said, I'm sorry. I said, I've passed you 3 times. What's your name? He says,
Right.
I'm Scott, you know, and he just looked absolutely stunned. I'm like, well, Scott,
Yep.
how's your day going? And he kind of sat there staring at me for a minute. And then we were going back in later. Peter and I went out and got food, and we were going back in, and I had this literally a giant thing of nachos, thinking I'm going to eat a quarter of this thing. It's huge.
Yeah.
So I stopped. He hadn't moved all day. And I asked him earlier, do you want some coffee? And he goes, no, I went and got some. I said, great. So we came back by with the nachos. I said, hey, Scott, are you hungry? And he goes, what? He goes, oh, those look good. And I said, yeah. I said, do you want one? He goes, I was thinking about getting them. So why don't you try it? He just kind of looked at me, and I saw him look back at you.
Yeah.
Like,
Mhm.
you know, well, that's your husband. And I said, no, please try it. And he took a chip, and he's just like, thank you. When I'd walked back out again later, he was still sitting there, and he goes, hey, what was your name? I said, well, it's Christine. He goes, thank you for paying attention to me.
Yeah.
And I thought,
Yeah.
to me, that's just so sad.
So I don't get it right all the time. You know, we never do. And I don't want to get into the whole thing, but so we lost a member of the community, a guy named Jason Brown, recently.
Mhm.
And you may have seen the talk. Really, what he was a male version of Christine at that level. Super kind, super thoughtful, willing to engage with almost anyone. Hours of phone conversations, apparently.
Mhm.
And I had an opportunity to meet him this last at Atlanta Blade Show, and I was so Blade Show mode that I did not take the time, and I should have. Right. And I took the lesson. That's all I can do. I can't change what was. I can't make that better. But so this show, I was willfully more willing. And if I found myself getting to that, well, yeah, I got, hey man, how are you?
It only takes 2 seconds to walk by somebody and say, good morning, good afternoon, or have a great day. And
Wait for the response.
It makes
And
their
wait,
day.
yeah.
Give it
Don't
that
just say
moment.
it as you're passing, but just stop for a second, say it, acknowledge, and then move on.
Yep.
Right. Now
And you can change people's days.
we have a very in some ways we have a very traditional husband and wife relation. This is my favorite one. I will say, I saw Dirk today at Safeway, and she'll say, oh, and follow it with, what's he doing? How's his girlfriend? How's his job? What's going on with his cat? And I'm like, I saw Dirk today at Safeway. I don't right.
We
You know,
kind of nodded across the
Right,
aisle,
we're like,
and
dude,
that was
what's
that.
up? And that felt very connected. That was great.
Right.
We like waved at each
Yeah.
other and said, so I'm not talking about changing your whole you,
No.
but
Just be polite, be respectful, be professional.
right,
Treat
there's a
the
lot of talk
janitor
about the
just
place
like you do the
community.
CEO.
We
I
have
love
an
it.
opportunity, always have an opportunity to build the one we want.
Yep.
Rather than just sort of exist in it. And that's been ever since we lost Jason, that's been my whole mentality. Like, is to, if I want the, you know, it's easy to sit around and say, oh, I don't like the way those people talk to each other. I don't like the way that interaction goes. It's fine to notice those things. It turns out that for me at least, it's not okay then to not try to affect change.
I agree.
You know, and
I
so
like that.
that's one of the main reasons. It's funny, why would I have, a month ago, as tired as I was, coming up on 5 o'clock, I might have said, you know what, I'm too tired. There's a lot of good excuses, but I'm not. No, I wanted to be here and talk to you guys and do this,
And-
right?
And
And
there's
the
going to come a point where we're tired. We've had a long day. We can't accommodate and hold long, drawn out conversations with everybody.
Right.
Right.
So we have to take care of ourselves too.
Of
But
course.
Absolutely.
we all can make more of an effort. And Detroit's smart. I like this comment here. Everybody else.
I love that. Yep.
Everybody does have a story, and we don't know what your story is today. You may be having the worst day of your life because of these 3 things. And if I'm a jerk to you just because you're a nobody, that could push you over the edge and
Absolutely.
bad things could happen.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Or on the reverse side, I could treat you like a human and say, what's your name, Mr. Security Guy? here's some chips, and also change his day to good things. So everybody's got a story, and I think we owe it to each other to learn a little bit about people's stories.
Kindness costs nothing.
This my baby boy. This is Ryan.
Hello.
He's not. He's 19, about 6 inches taller than me.
You know, kindness costs nothing. It really
I agree with that.
And it takes 2 seconds, and
and sometimes I make these comments like I hate people and this and that, and it's probably partially because I'm in customer service and I take money from people every day at my job, and sometimes, especially the last couple of years, I think people tend to look more inwards than outwards.
Yeah.
And they're not really treating. They're forgetting, like, a lot of mannerisms I've seen have gone out the door and things like that. And not everybody, but a lot more people than what I'm accustomed to from the past.
Yeah.
And so in all honesty, to tell you the truth, I get high on watching people being good to each other. Like, that is like my favorite thing to see. But, you know, it's sad that that's something that I see less and less nowadays. And it's not that they're not out there. I think just everybody's in this turmoil right now and inner struggles, you know,
and everybody's in a hurry.
So, and there's a lot of recovery that's going to have to happen from the last couple of years. It's funny, you know, wisdom comes from silly places. But one of my favorites, and I'm not going to get the line right, but it's actually from the original Men in Black movie, and it's you know, basically what it comes down to is never confuse people with a person. It's okay to dislike people, groups of people thinking, moving in that mass. But even within that group, that's a bunch of individuals, and you don't have to get to know every one of them. But if you're having a moment where you're like this, you know, pick one and be like, "Hey, man, what are you doing?"
I'm sorry. Hey, William, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for your loss.
Will Carey says, just hit a spot for me this week. Partially lost a coworker of over 10 years Tuesday. Pretty hard pill to swallow. I'm just happy that our last conversation was full of laughter.
Yeah,
for sure.
You never know what tomorrow brings.
Yeah,
we're not trying to get too deep here, but
no,
but that's honest. You don't.
Here's
we don't know what tomorrow means. And then Kyle says here, not to get religious, but we all need to embrace something bigger than ourselves and live by a golden rule.
Yeah.
Again, mine is like, and I've preached this before, is just be polite and professional.
How would you want to be treated? Treat people the way you want to be treated.
Yeah.
Here's one thing I challenge everybody to do. My aunt made a really interesting observation. So my mom, they were born and raised in Hawaii, but she moved to Canada and lived there for many years. And we were somewhere and she said, "Thank you." And I said, or "No problem." She said, "I've never been somewhere where that was the answer. It's or no problem." And she said, "Have you ever did you ever say, 'You're welcome'?" You'd be surprised. Instead of turning around and saying, or "No problem," actually turn around, look at the person and say, "Well, you're welcome."
Yep.
And see what it does. Just something a little bit different, you know?
Absolutely. Oh, Zach Stuff's here.
Hey,
what's up, Zach?
Does that mean you're home now, Zach?
That's another guy in the knife community I really want to shout out to, because Zach is a lovely, lovely human being. I don't talk to him very often, once in a while, you know, but over a spread of many years, he's my Benchmade source of stuff, you know, to watch. And
he lives in the Benchmade basement.
Yeah,
he is
sure
Mr.
does.
Benchmade. If anybody's going to change their YouTube names like everybody seems to be doing these days, Zach could change his to Benchmade Guy or Benchmade Dude or something.
And I love
Zach.
This meaningful, serious conversation. I want to lean into the camera and go, "Zach, you've got him fooled. Keep it up." Oh, no,
Zach is the DSKFS. Do something kind for someone. You know?
Is Zach.
Yeah.
So very cool.
Very good timing to join in, Zach. Thank you.
Right?
Yeah, man. For sure. I mean, talk about people that live this thing we're talking about.
Yep.
Made it home safe. Good to hear, Zach.
That's awesome,
yeah.
man. Yep. A lot of people flying today. A lot of people traveling today. I will say it's funny we're talking about this kind of like I mentioned at the beginning of this, we were talking about what it was like in Utah. Everybody there is nice. And sometimes it surprises me how a thinner population allows for less like daily frustration. Like they're just not elbow to elbow in Utah chaos. Like they are here.
Yeah.
And I think that adds a little, just enough room that if you're having a bad day, you're not bumping into everybody while it's happening.
Mm-hmm.
And so the whole tension level comes down a little bit, right?
That makes total sense.
Alex, man, here in California, we're packed in pretty tight. Man.
Sardines.
And that means that if you're having a bad day, it is gonna spill out onto the guy at the gas station and the guy at the mall, and you know what I mean. Because
don't take it out on other people.
Right. Yeah. So I think it's interesting. So we talk about moving and what it'd be like to live somewhere else. I guess maybe there is reason.
Yeah.
A little space.
Well, that is so what you're saying right now is the exact reason why I'm trying to leave California next year, because I want more space. I want, and I want some place maybe a little bit more family orientated, for my daughter. She's 5. I need nice family orientated state where, people still go outside and play and things like that. You don't do that here in LA anymore. You're crazy if you do. And the space that you're talking about, which allows you to get your own space in that perspective I completely understand that. And I actually do appreciate that. That's something that I'm always looking for, just because when there's people that process like a hard day or something differently, my way to process it is to internal it until the heat blows out, like take an hour away from everybody and just blow steam, watching women carry knives and Therapeutic Edge on YouTube, not thinking about work, not thinking about whatever else happened, right? And then all of a sudden, an hour later, I'm like, oh, I feel better.
Hey man, I'm all for that hour, right? I'm a big believer in time and space for yourself. People always ask me, because of the work I do, what do you do with all that like energy that you pick up throughout the day? Well, I have an advantage.
Comes home and yells at me.
Right. No, I'm a metalhead and I have to drive for 40 minutes to get home. And so I get in my car sometimes and just throttle it and just, it's just, that's my space. That's my breathing room. And that does help. But I think that if I wasn't stuck in traffic, it would be less, you know what I mean? It would go away faster.
Yeah.
I'd be less of that.
Oh,
so
I hear
you.
Used to drive. I get it.
Right. So so I've made what makes traffic makes people so angry. I've taken what could be a real negative to my day and turned it into a potential positive by finding that's when I crank up the music or I listen to a good murder podcast or something. But I don't think it would be terrible to live. I work 20 miles from home, and it takes me 50 minutes to get there. It'd be nice if that was a 15-minute drive instead.
Right.
Yeah, but I work 15 miles from home, and it takes me 20 to 30 minutes.
Yeah, right. In California, that's where we're at.
Yeah, so it's nuts.
Yeah, my 25-mile commute to work takes me about 45 minutes on a good day, and then an hour and a half on a lousier day.
Yep.
So it's taken me well over an hour and a half to get back from Fremont.
Yeah,
that sucks.
But you can look at it two ways, right? You could say it's more time to really finish that murder podcast
right
way through.
I'm sorry, what happens used to be in Fremont, so think about that. I used to be from Fremont.
Did you go from Napa to Fremont?
Yes, sir.
Oh no, thank you.
And then my office moved. We bought a spot and built a new building in Milpitas, 2 exits down.
Oh, geez.
Like 2 exits farther south.
No way.
So that was an hour and 15 minutes down in the morning because I went early, and then it was an hour and a half to 3 hours coming home in the afternoon, depending on when I drive.
So I had a friend of mine that lived in LA. He lived in Victorville and he worked in Culver City.
Oh my God. So I'm probably about 30 minutes away from Culver City, and Victorville is like a 2.5.
Oh yeah, man. He was spending he was working 8 hours a day and spending 6 hours a day minimum in the car. And I was like, no, I'm all for personal space and making the most of it,
but
and
that's
finding
way too much.
A therapeutic reason to be in. No, that's too much.
Yeah.
You couldn't pay me enough to do that. And yet I think to my, but even if I lived, I wouldn't move 3 hours away from a no traffic job either. There's a point at which that's too much.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I guess the other side of that is you have to make changes that affect you in a positive way, so you're not making yourself crazy in order to just do the things you need to do.
Yeah. Well, that's why I moved to Napa. I was living and working in San Jose and got a job in Napa and said, I'm not driving back and forth. So I moved.
Right.
Yeah.
And then I changed jobs and got a job in Fremont, and I never moved. I just drove then. And for a while, my office was back in San Jose. So I actually was driving to San Jose.
Oh man, that's chasing the dream, and it keeps getting away from you.
I'm not that bright, but now I work from home, so I'm good. I have
true.
A 30-second commute from the bedroom next door.
But you are, it's interesting, Dirk, because you're a very social person, and you do it in a very oriented, planned ways. You're like, this weekend I'm going to see so-and-so, and then I'm driving over here to do this thing. And I'm going, it's not that you work from home and that's just where you are all the time.
You actually get out.
No,
I get out sometimes.
You're definitively social, but just in a sort of contained way. You're like, I'm going to do these people on this weekend, and then I'm going to be home for a while. And then
very spontaneous if it's exactly the way I planned it to be.
Right. That is honest, and I love it. I'm very spontaneous as long as the plans go just right.
Right.
Hey, what can I say?
That's the way to go. Yeah.
Oh boy. All right. Well, I think we have rambled long enough here, guys. And
I think this is our longest
Peter,
show.
we greatly appreciate you coming on. It has been a great time. Thank you very much.
Alex,
Thanks for having us.
Alex and Dirk, thank you so much,
Yeah.
guys.
We need to get
we're-
Alex to take a trip up here
Yes.
Oh yeah,
for a
I know.
weekend.
Absolutely.
Or, middle of the week, and then we can get together for lunch all together.
I would love that, man.
I'm totally in for that, but I think I'm gonna fly, not drive. If I
Well,
do
you
that.
can fly up, and I'll pick you up at the airport somewhere, and we'll
Or
hang
if
out
we
for a
come down,
weekend.
if we head
If we
down
come-
south for more ink, we will. This definitely reach out, Alex.
Oh yeah,
Very
please
soon.
do, man. Please
Or
do.
we can get together at California Custom if we all go.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, we'll figure that out for sure. If we're
Yeah.
all going to go, we'll try to coordinate that this time.
Absolutely.
All right.
We're
Well,
gonna go
thanks
ahead and
everybody
step out.
for
Thank you,
watching
guys.
and
Thank you,
chiming
everybody,
in.
for watching.
We do greatly appreciate it.
Hey,
Links
and
to all
everybody,
of our channels are in the
make
description.
sure you subscribe to these guys' channel, please.
Yes,
Go
please.
check out Therapeutic Edge, Women Carry Knives. There's a great source of information there, but it's fun to watch too, which makes it extra fun. So make sure you guys go check out their channels. Go check out Dirk. If you're not subscribed already, I would be shocked. But if you're not,
should
go
be.
check him out.
Right.
Right. And then
How do you do that?
and
Dirk.
then me
Dirk.
and then me last, the Watch Cut channel. I post videos maybe once or twice a month. Sorry about that, but that's just my lifestyle. So but I am working on a Halloween themed Hellraiser video, which is coming.
Oh.
So that'll be
Hellraiser
my
was at the
third
show.
one I reviewed too, because I did the P series, I did the full custom, and now I'm doing the one that actually belongs to me, which is the mid-tech version that Ed pimped out a little bit for me. So go check that out. Be out probably next week.
And
Cool.
that's why one of the reasons I was trying to go to Blade, because Ed Kim had reached out to me directly asking me to come because he wanted to talk about another custom that we've got in the works and stuff like that. And I just, once I got sick, I had to let him know that I couldn't make it because
Right.
Yeah.
it work. So yeah, that was the bummer of it, was because I really was going to go and just hang out with him for a bit. So
Yeah,
Anyway.
well, maybe he'll be at CCKS. You never know.
you never know. So, all right. Thanks everyone. Have a
Thank
great
you
night.
guys.
Bye,
Everybody
guys.
have a great night.
Good night, everybody.